Thanks, Felicia, and thank you everybody for joining us. Today we are going to be making wax melts and we're going to be making candles. And while I was preparing for this class, I kind of came upon a happy accident of putting the wax melts and the candles together to create my strawberry shortcake surprise candle. So I am obsessed with this. As someone who grew up in the 80s and the 90s, strawberry shortcake, yes, forever and ever. So I'm going to be making this today, and this is going to teach you all the different things that you're going to need to know in order to make candles on your own and also to make wax melts. So you can make both, you can make one or the other. There's lots of supplies for this class, so maybe you want to watch first, and like Felicia said, then take some time, watch again on Monday after you've gathered which supplies you think you want to go for. Today's class is meant to be for beginners, so if you are an experienced candle maker, there are lots of tips and tricks that others can add to the mix. Feel free to add some more information to the chat if you are an experienced candle maker. We're going to stick to some of the basics, but there's a lot of science behind candle making. If you want this to be a business, if you want to do this professionally, then there are lots of things that you need to kind of look into, especially in regards to temperature. There's lots of things, it's science, that can get messed up very easily, adding too much color, not enough color, too many scents, not enough scents. All of those different things are variables in this big science experiment of making candles. But we're going to focus more on just kind of beginner level, how to get started, and also how to just make something fun. So if candle making is not your thing, maybe you're going to try some wax melts. What's awesome about the wax melts are that they're small. They're almost like those little soaps that my grandma used to have at her house. Did anyone else's grandma have these little soaps at their house? And they're cute, they're adorable, they're full of fragrance. We have lots of different scents that you can try out. And then if you have one of those warmers, you can have the scents kind of just filling your house with those warmers. So these wax melts are very fun, very easy, quick too, because they're smaller and they're not going to take as much time to set. So with our project today, what we're going to be doing is, you might see that I have my big crock pot. It's basically a crock pot. It's a crafting crock pot because it has a little spigot. So I'm using this. I've already been heating up my wax. It's at the 212 degrees mark. You do need your wax to be at a pretty high temperature in order for it to flow. So I'm going to be able to turn this little spigot and let my wax flow. Now, I suggest it for this class that if you're not ready to invest in something big like this, I teach classes, I do lots of things, so I like to have a big pot of melted wax. But if you're doing this just individually or just for yourself and not doing a large batch of something, I recommend that you got the pitcher. So in order to heat up your wax using that pitcher, there are two different kinds of wax that Michaels sells. Michaels does have some microwavable wax. It's soy wax that you can put into the microwave, and it comes with a container that you can heat it up in the microwave. That's one way to melt your wax. The other way is, if you have the pitcher, you don't want the pitcher to hit direct heat, so you don't want to put that straight onto your oven. What you want to do is you want to boil some water into a larger pot and put the pitcher inside of that boiling water to do like a double boiler kind of situation. And then that's going to help you get that wax and be able for you to pour the wax into the different things rather than open the spigot like I'm going to do in the class today. So if you are making along today, there's a lot of steps and there's a lot of things. So feel free to start melting your wax if you are going to play along. Mine's already melted. We're already kind of ready to go. The first thing that I'm going to do in order to make this really cute strawberry candle is I'm going to start with a vessel, and I'm going to fill the vessel, and then I'm going to put it off to the side and leave it for a while. And as I'm talking and as we're doing the rest of the class, we're going to come back to the candle at the end, and it's going to be set enough for us to go ahead and add our little wax melt details. So that's the plan overall for today's class. Let's see how it goes. Everything's a science experiment, so you just never know what might happen, but I'm sure we'll have a good time. So let's switch over to the other camera, and I'll show you some more of my magical ingredients. I told Felicia I feel like I'm a mad scientist over here. I got all my test tubes, I got all my little eyedroppers. So what's going on in all of this is I have colors. So I have some blue, I have some red, and I have some yellow and green. I have colorant, and then I also have fragrance. So Michaels has a pack that's called Iridescent, and the Iridescent comes with 4 different scents, which is a really nice starter pack if you're trying to figure out some different scents that you want for your wax melts or for your candle. We also have different bottles of the different scents too. So this one is sweet vanilla, and this is the one that I'm going to start with. Now, again, in candle making, there's different types of candles. We're going to be working with soy, and soy is notorious for cracking. Soy is notorious for settling a little bit strange sometimes, but soy is the most cost efficient, and soy is also one of the safest for you to use. If you use something like paraffin or if you use something with palm oil, there's just different environmental impacts and different things to watch out for. So soy is my favorite wax to use, even though it can sometimes be a little bit tricky. So I'm not expecting perfection. I'm just expecting something to look really cute. So if you need something to burn exactly evenly, again, there's a lot more science behind all of that and what kind of wax you use and how hot it is. All of that matters. But today for our fun, we're going to start with a jar. So Michaels has a ton of cute jars. This is a pink iridescent jar, and it has a nice wooden top to it. So when I open this up, I have this beautiful vessel that I can fill with what I'm going to start with is like a vanilla base. And then I'm going to add some cute little strawberry wax melts at the top to have like a little strawberry and a little vanilla kind of going together in my candle. So this is one of the many choices of jars that you can use. I really like the pink shimmer, but if you're not into pink, we do of course have more of like a matte black. So this is more of like a matte black that you could take a paint marker on and kind of write on and decorate. I like that both of these choices of jars come with the wooden top, because some of you know that I like to wood burn as well. So you could wood burn on those tops because they are untreated wood. And you could add some extra decoration or add some vinyl to personalize a candle if you're giving it as a gift. But here's the jar that I'm going to start with. And I can just see if I know how many ounces this is, but I don't think I do right off the top of my head. So with
8
my
ounces.
jar, 8 ounces, did you say?
Yes.
Thank you, Felicia. Appreciate it. All right, so here is my jar. I'm going to move some of this off to the side. And then I have what we call wick stickers. So a wick sticker is literally what it sounds like. It's a little sticker that's double-sided, and you're going to stick it into the bottom of the candle jar, the vessel. I'm going to peel off the other part of the sticker, put it in the center. And what that's going to do is that's going to give me a place for my wick to go and to kind of stay stationary in the center of my candle when I'm going to fill it. Now there's different sizes of wicks, and this large wick is obviously too large for this candle, but the small size wick is also too small for this candle. So I'm going to go with the larger size wick, and then I'll eventually cut down the wick. So keep it in mind that you want to have something longer is better than shorter. So there's a question in chat that asks about a decorative glass you want to use, but it feels thin. So I do think a thin glass has the potential to crack, so you do want to be careful with that. This is a relatively thick rim, and it's a pretty substantial glass. But you also can try to just fill maybe like an inch of it and see if that's going to work. And you can build up inch by inch and do kind of layers of wax, trying to make sure that it's going to be safe for you to use. All right, so here is the metal part of my wick. And I have my wick sticker. So I'm going to attach the wick to the wick sticker. And obviously I have this really long wick sticking out. I'm eventually going to take some popsicle sticks to keep my wick centered. But if you don't have that, there are also many tools. You can use a, what do you call it? Somebody help me. Clothespin. Oh, this is going to be a word game today. You can use a clothespin to hold up your wick. We also sell wick centers at Michaels where you can stick, it's a little popsicle stick that already has holes in it so it can keep the wick centered. I'm going to use good old-fashioned craft sticks in order to help me keep mine centered. And when I start pouring in, I have some time to get it centered and to get it where I want. And I can even bend over the wick a little bit in order to kind of keep it in the place that I want. I could put some tape down, whatever I want in order to help me keep that centered. The reason why you need to keep your wick centered is for a nice even burn. So as the heat is coming and as the flame is coming, you want that wick to be in the center so it's not just puddling on one side and putting your candle out and things like that. All right, I'm going to switch over to my other camera and I'm going to go ahead and fill the vessel. So I'm going back to my crock pot. And at this point, if you have your double boiler and if your pitcher is full of hot wax, then you can easily switch over. And Alicia, are you ready? There we go. And then I'm going to open up the spigot. So this is you pouring with your pitcher into this. And it doesn't matter where the wick is right now. I'm going to go ahead and pour. And when I'm letting the wax come into the vessel, I'm going to leave about, I'm going to say about an inch. And I'm leaving an inch from the top of the vessel because I'm going to let this settle and I'm going to be adding a little layer and I'm going to be adding my wax melts. So that's going to bring it more towards the rim. So even if you do have a candle that's just going to be a candle and you're not going to add anything else into it, you don't want to fill it all the way to the top. You do want to leave some space so that the candle has a nice place to kind of have the walls keep the wax hot and keep everything burning correctly. So if this is hot, this is actually okay for me to touch and I'm going to be able to move it over. But if it's too hot to be able to touch, make sure that you use some heat resistant gloves, some pot holders, different things like that to help you out. And then we'll switch back over here and I'm going to be adding some fragrance. So my wick sticker is keeping my wick in place. And now I'm going to go ahead and open up my sweet vanilla. And my sweet vanilla comes with a dropper in it. And so depending on the size of your vessel and depending on your taste, because some people don't like a lot of fragrance, I'm going to start with 5 and I'm going to mix those 5 drops in. So I'm going to use a craft stick and I'm going to kind of work around my wick and mix that scent in. If you want more fragrance or if you want multiple fragrances, you can go ahead and add a few drops of another one. Once you start getting too many drops, then you are kind of altering the chemistry of the wax. And so you do want to be careful with that. But about 5 drops is a good place to start. And I'm still able to stir it because the wax is not solidified yet. If you want to add maybe 1 or 2 more drops, I really like the smell of the sweet vanilla, you can. And go ahead and stir that in nicely. Now, when you're doing candles, fragrance comes first and then color comes second. So in this one, I don't want to add any color because I want my final color to be like a white, like a wax, like this one. So I'm going to leave it natural. I'm not going to add any color to it. Obviously, it looks a little yellow right now, but it is going to dry a little more on the off-white side. So this is what it's going to look like when this dries. I am going to be setting this vessel off to the side and I'm going to let this sit. I'm going to put my craft sticks to protect my wick and to have my wick so that it is in the center. And the wick has some wax on it and it is bendable. And I think I might even use a little piece of tape to keep this in the place I want it to be. So I'm putting in a little bit of tape to keep those sticks together. And then I'm going to carefully leave this on a level ground so that it settles nice and even. And I'm going to put it off to the side while we keep talking about wax melts. So here this one goes off to the setting. Now I also want to talk about different molds. So Michael sells a lot of pillar candle molds. So this is an example of what a pillar candle mold would look like. It's silicone, so it's really nice and easy to take back off. So with this one, you would put a wick through. They don't come with any holes at the bottom. So I actually took an embroidery needle and did a tiny little hole to poke through to be able to get the wick through. And then once the wick has gone through, because the wick has gone through and you've poked a little bit of a hole, you're going to want this to settle into some sort of jar or some sort of other kind of container, just in case there's any leakage that comes out through that point. You will do the same kind of thing with these molds rather than vessels where you're trying to keep the wick centered again. And then you can fill this up with whatever color you want. And these are the kind of pillar candles that can come out. So depending on how high I fill that, I can have these different size pillar candles, and I can add my fragrance and I can add my colors. Oh, these smell good. And I can make my own using a mold rather than using a vessel. Here's another mold that looks like this one, kind of a nice pear shape to it with some extra little intricacies. So I poured one of these earlier today, and this is the mold that this one looks like. And I obviously have some blue. There is a little bit of settling at the bottom, so I went ahead and put one more layer at the bottom just to kind of even out the bottom. And I can tell you some other tips about that. Notice how the tip, the wick, is coming through a little hole right here in the center. And I'm just going to show you how easy these are to peel off. This is honestly very satisfying and very fun to just kind of loosen this up and pull this off. This is live TV, so anything can happen. Will it work? We will see. Ooh, so far so good. Yes, look at that. What a beautiful candle. Really pretty color, adding some of that blue colorant. And the fragrance on this one is caramel. So it has a really nice caramel scent to it, which I really like. Obviously, the wick is too long at this point, so there are specific cutters for wicks. I am going to go ahead and use a scissor, and I'm going to leave probably about 3/4 of an inch of the wick left so that I have somewhere for my flame to go. But this is using one of these really cool molds. And so the mold probably needs to set for at least an hour. Whoa, surprise. And then you can demold, which honestly is my favorite part. Very satisfying to pull that mold off and just the way that it all kind of unfolds to make this beautiful, beautiful candle. So if the bottom, see this bottom, I didn't add an extra layer of wax to like I did this one. So if your bottom is kind of crusty, like I said, it sometimes settles a little. Soy is notorious for kind of settling weird and sometimes giving you some cracks. I'm just glad that none of the sides had any cracks, but it does kind of give you this little indentation. So what you can do at this point is I've seen people use a pan, like a baking sheet of hot water, and then kind of put the bottom of it into the hot water in order to kind of even it out. I've seen that done. Obviously, like I did, you can add a little bit of layer. If I wanted to, I could have made it exactly the same color, but this is the bottom, and I don't think anyone's going to notice when it comes to that. And so these are some of the molded candles that you can use. So another question says, are there any uses you can think of for the remaining wick material once you've trimmed it from the candle? And that's a great question. So if anybody else in the class has any good ideas of what to use with that, the extra wick, I will tell you that you don't necessarily need the metal guard at the bottom. So if you do just have some extra wick, once upon a time, I remember in Girl Scouts that we used to do dipped candles where we took a big wick like this and just did the continuous dipping to make ourselves kind of pillar candles. So that could be fun, even if it was a short wick. If you dip into the wax, let it dry, dip into the wax, and just continually build layers and layers and layers. You could even make like little birthday candles with some of these wicks. So those are some ideas right off the top of my head. But if anyone else has any ideas, I'm sure that that would be something fun to add into the chat. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to look at are some wax molds. Now, I was playing too close to the sun. And I left my blue dye a little too close to my silicone molds, so I have a little bit of blue spot. But this particular mold is kind of like sweet treats. So we have a slice of pie, we have a donut, we have a cupcake, and we have a cookie. So these are adorable. There's also another mold that's more baked goods or pastries. So this one has a slice of toast, it has a pretzel, it has a croissant, and it has a waffle in it. So that's another mold. There is the ever popular gummy bear mold that just has these adorable little gummy bears you can play with. And the one that I'm going to use today is more of some fruits. So we have some citrus fruits, maybe a little mandarin orange, some blueberries, and of course my favorite, the strawberry. Strawberries are very trendy right now. So I'm going to be using some of these sweet molds. We're going to be mixing colors, mixing scents, doing some different things in order to get these. Now, I suggested the Iridescent today that has more of like baked goods scents to it. So I think the Iridescent I'm using has sweet vanilla, cinnamon, baked apple, and oatmeal cookie are the fragrances that come with it. But there is another Iridescent that has what they call red berries. So red berry smell is going to be a really good one for the strawberries. There's also citrus smells in that same one. So if you want to use this mold and you want to use your citrus smells and your red berry smells, I think that's a good Iridescent. I think that the one that I have with all the baked goods would be really good for this pretzel, the croissant, the toast, things like that. Any of these having kind of an oatmeal smell or kind of having like a baked good smell. Vanilla is always great for pastries. So those are going to be some nice scents for those. So I'm going to start with my fruits on this particular, a maple. Can you imagine? A maple for that waffle would be an amazing scent. And it's called Iridescent because you can mix some of these things together and make an oatmeal vanilla cookie or make an oatmeal baked apple cookie and things like that. So Iridescent is a really fun way to play with lots of different scents. So the way that I'm going to be working with these molds, I'm not going to be taking it to my crock pot and pouring it directly in. I am going to use some designated tools. So I have like a measuring cup that is a designated wax cup. I'm obviously never using this for baking again, but you could also use paper cups. You can use lots of different things. I tend to use votives. Let's see, where did I put one? So if you have any of these little glass votives that you can also use to fill candles, I sometimes use these to play with the different colors and to kind of mix my different scents before I pour them into molds like these. So there's another question that says, can you use baking molds or do they need to be mold specific for wax? That's a great question. A lot of the baking molds that we have at Michael's are the exact same material. They're this really thick silicone. So I would say that the majority of the baking ones we sell can cross over for candle making. Do be careful. User's choice, of course, but I think that as long as they are meant for resin, if they are meant for being put into an oven, they can withstand the heat of the wax, and they should be fine for this particular use also. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting some of my hot wax into this measuring cup, and then I'm going to be pouring it into different things. I might be using this little cup. I might be using some paper cups. And the reason why I can get away with using paper cups is because it's not going to be in here for very long. It's only going to be in here long enough for me to mix a couple of colors and pour it into something. So it's not going to be setting in here, so I'm not going to be hurting myself or anything like that. It's just a temporary use in order to add some colors before I dip it into the wax molds. All right, here I go. I'm going to fill some of this. You can just imagine that that's what I'm doing over here. I'm bringing this hot, thank you, Felicia, that's so kind. So I filled some of this and now I'm bringing it back over here and I have this nice melted wax and I want to play around with fragrances and I want to play around with colors. So I'm going to put the fragrance in first. And because I'm going to be trying to make my strawberries, I'm going to use more of a berry scent. So I'm going to go through my rings and find my berry scent. And they come with these droppers too. So just like the color before, I'm going to pick up some of the scent and I'm going to drop about 3 drops to get myself started since I'm working with a smaller amount of wax. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to go ahead and stir that up. See how that smells. And so far, so good. Give a little, ooh, yum. So that's a nice berry smell to it. And then I'm going to go ahead and think about colors. So I'm going to be using some red dye. And I'm going to open this red dye carefully. I've used this lots of times, so I like to keep them, again, I'm a mad scientist, so I like to keep my colors in like little, so I can keep the dropper next to it and kind of contain the mess as much as I possibly can so that I don't dye my fingers like crazy. 1, 2, I'm going to do 3 drops. Food coloring is a good question, and I do not recommend that. Just because, again, of all the chemistry, I can't guarantee that whatever food coloring you're using is the right thing to mix with the wax. I do know that these colors in particular that Michael sells are guaranteed. People have tested these, people have tried these, they are meant for candles. And that's also a really good point. So thank you for bringing that up today, that if you have colorant for soaps and colorant for candles are 2 totally different mixtures. They're 2 totally different formulas. Something that is safe to put in a candle is definitely not safe to put on your face. So you have to pay attention to if your coloring is for candles or if your coloring is for like bath bombs or soaps or things like that. And there are not a lot of colorants that cross over and are okay for both of them. So make sure that the scents you're buying also need to make sure that they're for candles, whereas you can also buy scents for something like face scrubs, sugar scrubs, bath bombs, and those scents have to go through different testing in order to be okay for them to be used on your face. So it's important not to mix and mingle. And now that I have this beautiful red color, I'm going to go ahead and pour this into my strawberry mold. And what's kind of fun too, and something I like to do, is if you want to play around with the color. So this is a pretty dark red, but if I add a little bit more of my wax to this red and stir it up, then I can get a little bit of a lighter shade. So if I want to have several different shades, several different colors of the exact same strawberry mold, I can have a lighter color, add it to it. So I'm going to kind of water it down or wax it down, I guess, in this case, by adding some more of my plain wax into my colorant to make the color less strong as I pour it into the strawberry to make almost more of a pink. So you'll see the difference for sure when we take these molds out. But now that I have these red strawberries, the next line on my mold is actually a blueberry. So something fun that we can do is now that we already have our red going, we can add some blue to this red and make kind of like a purple color, which would be nice for our blueberry. So I'm going to take my blue, and I think I'm just going to try and add 2 drops. There we go. And I'm going to stir that up, see what color I come up with. Now, again, you can change the scent, but I'm already kind of working with the berry scent. So I'm going to kind of keep that berry scent. But if you wanted to add something else to it to make it a little bit more specific to that, you can. So by adding the additional wax, do you also have to add additional scent? Well, you can, but I think because we're working with a small amount, that 3 drops was already a lot to begin with. So I think by adding some more wax, it's not really a bad thing. So that's a good question. Thank you. And the next question says, will it usually be a lighter shade after cooling? And the answer is yes, for sure. It will be. And I'm going to pour this one in. And this one's kind of like a deep berry color right now. And I think I'm going to add 1 more drop of blue to make it a little bit more on the purple side. So yes, this is the chemistry part. This is the mad scientist. Reminds me of when I was little making potions in the bathroom. Did anyone else do that? Just me. So I'm mixing this in to make it a little deeper, a little richer. Good. I'm glad it wasn't just me. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm filling up these blueberries. And because these are smaller pieces, it's not going to take very long for these to set. I'm probably going to try and give it about 10 minutes if I can wait that long, because I'm just really like excited about it. So it's hard for me to wait. I do have a little bit left and I can keep playing with this, and I can put it into, you know what? A good leftovers will be the gummy bears, because gummy bears can be so many different colors. So I'm going to use the leftovers in here to fill up some gummy bears. And then I'm going to go ahead and start a new color. And if your wax is starting to set, you can pour it back in. So I could pour it back into my crock pot and heat it back up and get some hot wax again. Actually, I might go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and take off my lid and pour what I have so far. And I haven't put any color or any scent into this, so that's why it's okay for me to kind of keep this going back to the main pot. And what's nice about me having this big crock pot, and even you with the pitcher, is after I'm done for today, I'm not even going to attempt to clean this out. I will never try to clean this out. I won't try and take all the wax of it out. This is my wax melter, period. Even if it's in the pitcher, I would not try and clean out the pitcher. I would just leave all of that wax in there for the next candle making session. So I have wax in here, and when I started today, I heated up all the wax that I already had and then added more of the soy flakes of the exact same kind to just kind of keep the content high enough so that it would be able to go past my spigot and be able to pour in nicely. So don't feel the need to clean out all of your containers, because by heating them back up, you're just going to get your nice puddle of wax again. And it's going to be really easy for you to use just by continuing to use the same and filling it up with exactly the same soy flakes. All right, I'm going to pour myself a little less this time. And now I'm going to try and make an orange color. So let's see how I do. I'm obviously going to try and mix some reds and some yellows to make an orange, to make some of my little citrus pieces. But I also want to think about a different scent. So at this point, maybe you want to change the scent. If you happen to have the citrus scent, you can change it to that. Or since I don't have my citrus scent handy, I do have a baked apple scent. So I'm going to go ahead and use that baked apple scent when I find it. And I'm going to use my dropper to get that scent in. Okay, must not have used this one before. There we go. I'm going to try about 3 drops again. So I'm going to pour into a smaller cup. I'm going to try about 3 drops. I'm going to go ahead and I didn't pour that in. I almost did, but I didn't. I'm going to go ahead and stir that up. So I'm starting off with a pretty clear, and remember this is going to dry to be like an off-white. I'm only going to use 1 drop of red. And then I'm going to try to use 2 drops of yellow to see if I can get kind of an orange color. I don't know if I can go through this whole class without doing a like, because I'm mixing all these things together. And it just makes me feel like I'm a little bit, yeah, the mad scientist. Okay, 2 drops of yellow. 1, 2. And I'm going to stir that together. Ooh, I think this is gonna work. I'm gonna pour a couple of these into my mold. I'm gonna pour one in the full mold and one in like the slice. I think I'm gonna try and add one more drop of yellow to try and make it a little bit more on the orange side than the red side. And I might need a little bit more wax and a stir. And do keep giving it a good sniff test to see if it's the scent that you want it to be, at the strength you want it to be. What's nice about these paper cups is you can fold it so you have a really nice little pour. And yet I still miss. That's okay. I think those look good. I'm gonna make a couple of gummy bears. Because I think I just thought of this, that maybe I want to make these like blind. So I'm gonna try a little bit of green too. So I'm gonna get a little bit more wax. And I think I have a green actual dye. Do I have a green? I thought I did. Yes, I do. I have a green dye. Okay, gonna put a little bit of this clear plain wax into my cup, a little bit more. I'm gonna put a scent into this one also. I'm gonna stir it up. And I'm going to add a drop of green. Probably just 1 or 2 drops of green because I think it's going to be pretty intense. Stir these. Ooh. That's giving me a nice lime green. I like that. Yes, fun. And this is also going to help me with my leftovers have some cute other colors of gummy bears too. So I love having a little catch-all for any of the leftover wax that I'm creating and using. And another little catch-all I want to point out is we have a wax mold that looks like this that is for tea lights. So it has the little stick inside of it. And the reason why this mold has the stick inside of it is because when you pop these out of the mold, they're going to have a hole down the center of it where that stick was. And then guess what? You can a bunch of these tea lights together onto a wick. So any of your leftover colors and any of your leftover different scents, if you want to kind of make yourself a little pillar candle, put together these different tea lights. What I ended up doing, I didn't put this one together yet because they all can come apart still. I just stacked them onto this wick so far. But what I did also was, like I talked about before, you can kind of melt the bottom of it, remelt the bottom of it in order to stick them together if you want to make it a solid pillar. Or you can also kind of fill in some of the gaps if you happen to have, since it was a leftover tray, if you happen to have any of those gaps in it, you can also fill those in with some clear, and you really can't tell that I used a lot of clear. You can still see the nice differentiation of color with all these cute little tea lights stacked up together. So I like having a mold that I'm focusing on, which in this case is going to be all the little fruits, but then having a different mold so that when I'm mixing all these colors, I'm not wasting anything, and I have another purpose for whatever it is that I happen to have left over. So just another idea are this mold with these particular things. And let's see how we're doing on time and how we're doing overall. All right, if you have questions, let me know. I'm still going to do some cooling time and some drying time. Checking back in on my original pour, because this was such a big candle, it seemed to be settled yet. It's still very, very liquidy. So I'm still putting this off to the side and letting this sit. I'm hoping that by the end of this class that it'll be solid enough for us to put our wax melts in. But if it's not, don't worry, I have a backup plan. So I'm going to put that off to the side. And then I'm going to talk to you about something kind of brand new to Michael's. And again, what I used in order to make the strawberry candle. When I have these wax molds, so you saw me make the strawberry wax molds. When I pull these out, they're just going to be solid red because that's how I made them. Now, these ones, I added a little bit of detail into them. And so what's nice about that is that we now have a new product at Michael's, and they are called wax pens. So you may or may not know that painting onto candles became a really hot trend. And so what's tricky about painting on candles is that you don't want to actually use paint to paint on candles, because when you burn them, you don't know what's in the paint. It might be toxic. It might not necessarily be safe for burning. It might affect the way that the candles burn. So what Michael's did was they took wax and put it into these cute little squeezy containers. And so putting wax onto wax isn't going to change the integrity of the candle, but still gives you that luxury of being able to paint with it and being able to decorate with it. So these are just some pillar candles that I bought at Michael's, and then use these cute little wax pens to make some leaf designs. Heart designs are very easy and fun to make them look really cool. This is like a lighter blue candle with that blue wax on it. And then I was trying with this one, I'm not quite done yet, but adding some cherries to this one using the red pen and the green pen. So when I was playing with all these pens, I thought, oh, wait a minute. I can take the wax melts that I've been creating and I can kind of play around with them. So I showed you before that I had a little piece of toast. So guess what? I took my little piece of toast and I took a yellow wax pen and put a little bit of butter on my toast. Or picture having a waffle and then adding a little bit of something to the waffle or something to the toast. Another idea to kind of play with these wax melts once they're done too is we have beautiful mica powders, and I dusted some of the mica powder onto this to give it a little bit more of a brown feel, because I don't really have a color to make a brown, but I do have kind of a powder to make it have a little bit more of a brown tint. So I played with some of those powders and I added on some butter. You could add on some avocado and make little avocado toast. Like, how adorable is that? I think I played around with some of these slices of pie too. And like on the slice of pie, kind of giving some of the crust a little bit more of a brown feel to it. And sometimes just taking some of the blueberries and adding a little bit more shimmer to my blueberries, and kind of just having fun with the powders and having fun with the different waxes. So I am going to show you how to kind of play with these wax pens, just in case you're interested. So here are some more of my fun little wax melts. Here's the pretzel shape. Here's the little citrus that we were, I know the possibilities are endless. So the question is, are those the mica powders that you can in resin? And so these particular mica powders say add pigment to candles or soap. So these are mica powders that are safe for candles and soap. I don't know if they're safe for resin, so I wouldn't do that. I would definitely just use ones that I know are safe for candles. Again, it changes the chemistry. Look at these cute little croissants, and look at this adorable little donut. So let's say that we take this donut and let's play with this donut, and let's play with these wax pens while we're kind of waiting for our other stuff to settle. So I'm going to take this donut and I'm going to take some of my wax pens and I'm going to kind of enhance the donuts. If I can do this high. And I'm going to kind of trace the icing that's already there on my donut. with this wax pen. Very easy to draw with this wax pen. So kind of making some icing on this donut. And it's not changing the integrity because I'm matching wax on wax. Decorating miniatures. It is like decorating miniatures. And then maybe I'll have some sprinkles on it. Little lines to make some sprinkles. Adorable. You can make a mini wreath. Yes, I would love that. And these molds, I mean, I talked about it before and was kind of joking, but you can use these molds to make those mini soaps too. Like, I love those mini soaps. Those give me a nice feeling being at my grandma's house. That's a funky little sprinkle. Love it. And I can add several of the different colors to this donut to really bring it to life. But you can see how fun it is to play along with these. And these wax pens come in lots of different colors. So I could, like I said, I could make, maybe I want to try and make some avocado toast. Oh, here's the waffle. So the waffle you could add some syrup to. So I was thinking maybe syrup, like maybe a purple, because maybe it's like a blueberry syrup, or maybe a little bit of butter that's kind of melted. So you could use those mica powders. Let me show you the mica powders just in case you want to play with those later. So what's great about this class is that we're doing lots of experiments together. We're testing out a lot of things, and then you'll still have the opportunity to watch this class again on Monday. So if you get a new idea, then you can go ahead and get some more materials and come back to this video again on Monday and see what else you might want to create. I'm going to use a paintbrush, and the mica powders look a lot like eyeshadow because eyeshadows are made of mica powders. So here's the purple. The question in the chat says, do the pens dry like the candles or stay soft? They dry like the candles. So they do dry into that harder wax. I'm going to take just my little paintbrush and get a little bit on my paintbrush. And then I'm just going to kind of dust this to give it kind of my blueberry feel to it. Like there's some syrup that was on this waffle. Just a little hint. Maybe I'll do a little bit more. Show you a little bit more color. And then maybe I want to add a little bit of butter to this. I want my butter to be kind of like a little square. Cute. Love it. There is a purple wax pen too. So a question says, could you actually put the mica powder? Could you actually put the mica powder into for the color? Yes. So you can, rather than using the drops of colorant like I was using before, you can use the mica powder to add to the wax to do the color. It will tell you on the side, it says mix 0.17 ounces of mica into 1 pound of melted wax. So you want to do some experimenting with how much goes in order for the color to show up, but it will tell you the directions on the side of the box to use those mica powders instead of using the color drops that we were using today. Let's see what happens when I add some purple, if this just looks like a hot mess or what this looks like. It's kind of giving me some jelly feel to it. It's kind of cute. Get closer to the butter. I don't know if you're one of those people where your waffle, you need to get the butter into all the little waffle positions. Do you try and make your butter go into each one of the little sections? I love that. I think that's really cute. So I think we might be ready, yep, to pop some of these suckers out. So let's see. It's time to demold and finish up. Look at all this fun stuff I've been playing with. I love it. Okay. Move my donut. And I'm ready to pop some of these out. Oh, this one was not ready because I just pushed on it and it just squirted. So yes, we don't have much time, so I am going to kind of force this and make this happen. But I do want you to spend a little bit more time letting yours settle so that you don't, waste it. So I'm going to go ahead and pop one of these strawberries. Ooh, look at that. So cute. So you'll notice that the mold gave us some cool little indentations. And it has the little stem. So I'm going to go with my wax right now with my wax pen, and I'm going to add some detail to the stem. Already looking a lot more like a strawberry. And then you can decide, I think we do have a black wax pen, but I didn't bring a black wax pen today. So I'm going to either use white or I'm going to use a pink in order to do some of the seeds. I think I have my white handy, so I'm going to use the white. And I'm just going to take the wax pen and kind of write into those seeds. And what's cool too is I can wipe this across with my finger and let them stay in the indentations and kind of wipe off some of the extra. So I just wiped across it to kind of keep them nice and even. I think I'll do that again. I'm going to go ahead and put my white dots down, and then I'm going to kind of swipe them across so that they're a little bit more subtle. Swipe them across. Oops, I'm swiping my green. Let me hold it closer to me so I can see what I'm doing. There we go, much better. Cute. So there's one of our strawberries. And you can go ahead and make several of these strawberries, or you can have maybe, I would love a little candle that had some of those croissants in a little circle around it. I think that would be really cute. I ended up just using 3 of my strawberries and putting them on top of my candle that I filled at the beginning. So you could, yeah, use some toothpicks in order to get into that teeny tiny area. Toothpicks are definitely going to work for that part. Let's see if any of these other molds are ready. Oh, here comes a blueberry. So the blueberry has just a little bit of like the piece where you pick it off of the bush. So maybe you want to do that one and just kind of highlight it. Let me see if I still have my purple pen somewhere. Yes, I do. Let's see what this one looks like with a little bit of accent. Or I could use some of the mica powder to make it a little bit shinier. But just adding some detail to this to show that that's the little part of the where you picked it off of the stem. With these slices, I was hoping to do some like different colors with it. So I like this. We got to eventually like a lighter orange and a green, lime green. And I will let the rest of these settle. And then I'll be posting more pictures of my finished projects because you'll probably want to see what some of these other ones look like. And I might not be able to take them out of the mold quite yet. So if you follow me on Instagram, my personal Instagram is the number 4M Pullman. And you can take a look at some of the pictures after I get a chance to let all of this settle. So right now with this one, I'm going to do the technique where I'm going to kind of put some wax down and then wipe across and let it settle into the different sections. And then that gives us kind of those extra features on the citrus. You could use white, you could use yellow to kind of give it a contrast color. I like that. I think with this green one, it would be nice to put like some white. I don't know if the green is ready though. Nope, not yet. Nope, not yet. Not yet. Let's take a look at a couple of our gummy bears too while we're wrapping up. So if you have any last minute questions, let me know because we're just about at the end of our time today. I'm gonna take a couple of the gummy bears out to show you. Adorable. Love them. My green has not had enough time, but yet I keep trying. So here's my cute little gummy bears. Those are adorable. This one's upside down. You can add a little bit of flair to those. Will it ruin the candle if you put it in the refrigerator? I don't know. But my guess, especially with soy, is that soy likes temperature to be exactly perfect, which is very hard to obtain. So I would guess that soy would not like going into the refrigerator. It would probably cause a lot more cracks. So I don't think that will work, but it is a good idea. So it's worth a shot. All right, let's see. To finish up our strawberry shortcake candle, this is not quite ready for me, but once this is set, and once this has a solid layer across the top, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add just a teeny tiny bit, just enough to fill the circumference again of wax. And then while I have just one more layer of that hot wax, that's when I'm gonna go ahead and add my strawberries. Now, when you put the strawberry down, it is very hard to move them around, even when the wax is still hot. So kind of be careful with your placement and make sure that you go ahead and place them exactly where you want them, because there's not going to be a lot of wiggle room once you put it down. So I am going to let this candle sit and let it get solidified across the top. Then I'm going to add one more little hot wax layer, and the hot wax is what's going to adhere the wax melts into these. So that's how I'm going to put these into the candle that I made. And then you're going to be able to melt your candle normally and have a little bit of the strawberry scent and a little bit of the vanilla scent and make your own strawberry shortcake candle. Or maybe you're going to make a citrus extravaganza. Maybe you have your base candle to be some kind of citrus flavor, and then maybe you have some limes or something like that. So all of those could make for a really fun candle. And I can't wait to see what you make. These are the ones that I've invented so far today, but I'm also curious to see what you invent. So please share with us. When you put the hot wax that you had, then yes, put the melts in there immediately and everything will settle one last time. And then they'll be solidified in there. I can't move these anymore. So it's just that little bit of wax, just almost like a layer of glue, in order to get me to stick those to the top of my candle. And there we go. So thank you for joining me. I'm so glad that you were here. I can't wait to see some of the finished results. Feel free to tag us at Learn with Michaels and have a great weekend. I'll see you again very soon. Bye, everyone.